Okay, so Andre, how you doing, mate?
I'm fine. How about you?
Yes, well, I say reticently and hesitantly because I'm feeling a little bit deflated, which isn't like me. So I'll let you lead the floor first with how you're feeling, and then I'll interact with you. So,
Okay.
what's going on with you then?
Yeah, it is similar, but I usually just respond it's good because it's kind of good, whether the pendulum swing to the right or the left, it's like trying to get centered in the middle. I would think like that.
Yeah, but what does that? Let me do this sound check. Test. So, what does that mean for you? How does that affect your everyday life?
Yeah, it's like I do an action in a certain way just to get by in the like matricial
Yeah,
world. And what people usually do, they trick themselves to actually like what they are doing. And that's what I would think. There's probably all kinds of people out there that do things for different reasons, but I think that's many people talk to themselves like, yeah, I like my work, but maybe you still don't like it. But
mm,
uh, and there's also this part like. Uh, Many people, if they wouldn't work, they wouldn't have anything to do. Like, what should I do? There's
yeah.
also that one. But I don't have that problem, because I do things. I do things all the time.
So you keep yourself busy all the time, and generally you're content with your life, and whether you're working or not. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer to work or do you prefer not to work?
I prefer to do things that I like. That could be work, but
Yeah.
like uh, everything we get money for is called work.
Hmm.
So it could you really just be getting money for doing what you like.
Yeah. Well, there's not too many people that do that. Only the lucky ones manage
Yeah.
to be able to do that. And so I would think people watching this video, 90% of them don't necessarily like the things they have to do for work, but it's kind of like, oh, it's a job. My old man told me, when I was a kid, the secret of this life is finding something that you like doing and being good at it. And so that way you get paid. And so I did find something that I liked doing, and I was good at it, and it was always working for myself. So whenever you're working for yourself, you're self motivated because all of the benefits you reap are for you. There's no tax man in between, with his pesky little handout. And so the more you work, then the more you get returned. But if you're not working, then you can enjoy life doing all different sorts of things like we do. We work out, you play guitar, I play guitar, and you like to read and philosophize with friends. And we can spend, each and every day filled with those pursuits and we'd never get bored or would enjoy our lives. And so, what do you think's happening to you at this moment in time then? You say you're kind of like, out of balance or something, but that's life, isn't it? When we look at our lives, goodness me, I've been through, several deep bouts of what I would consider to be discontentment with life, So what's happening with you?
I mean, the economical situation is like hellish. Like not hellish, but it's kind of not very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a just for the sake of it. the system in Sweden is more evasive than other countries in Europe. You know,
It's more what?
like more in your face than
Oh,
other
okay.
countries in
Right.
Europe. You know, it's proper socialism, North Korea light, so to
Yeah.
speak, and. Uh, Many people that are here also say, like Sweden is a country which strangles your creativity, you know.
Right.
And they have friends in Britain, they have friends in Germany, and their system ain't like that, which are not allowing for the person's creativity in a certain sphere of like maybe technical development or other kinds of thing, you know.
Hmm.
So let's see, where did I want to go with that? Yes, yeah, just how in your face the Swedish system can be, you know. And we are the highest taxed people in the world, also, you know. And also we are the most the people with the most loans also. So under that as well, you know,
With the most what? Lowest what?
loans.
Loans.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So, but because of my economical situation, at times I also keep my uh, physique pretty defined as well, because I always count that should have at least um, 2 grams of protein by
Uh-huh.
kilogram, you know,
Yeah.
at least. So I often just eat very little carb and so on. I eat about the same thing all day, every day.
Right.
Uh, it's chicken or minced chicken as well, you know,
Hmm.
and rice and stuff like that. And I did this body scan lately, which you measure your body fat percentage.
Yeah.
So I have actually a lot of water retention. That's
Right.
because I'm on creatine and I'm on salt right now, you know.
Right.
So, but I also have 3% body fat, which is very low.
Yeah. That's
And
probably
so I,
unhealthily low.
well, what do you say?
That's probably unhealthily low because last time I was looking up into this stuff, they were saying anything below about 9 really is too low. They reckon that about I think about 12, 14, or 16 was healthy. What have you learnt about that?
Yeah, probably, but I kept myself really, really lean for many years, you know,
Yeah.
to the extent where my muscle weren't growing. It was probably the other way around, you know,
Right.
and injuries didn't heal and so on.
Mm.
Uh, but now I have a lot of water as well. But I still think that 3%, or maybe it's not absolutely accurate. They say it's accurate, but I would say if I look at it myself, I would say maybe 4 or 5% body fat
Hmm.
that I have. But it can be the water retention that shows like that as well, you know.
Yeah.
But
So
I can see veins up here as well, you know. So
veins. Wow.
yeah, veins here, you know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty low, I would think.
Yes, you're looking very lean. And so, well, I mean, if you're in good shape, then that would add to your contentment. So, what is it that's taking you down? What is it that's making you feel that, you're not 100% content? Is it just the money facet, or the lack of progress, or the lack of prospects, the lack of inspiration? Because look, we don't work, and
No.
I've chosen probably never to work again for the rest of my life, because I can't work for anybody. I've always worked for myself all my life, and I enjoyed working for myself. And then when I no longer enjoyed it, I've stopped, and so therefore I have this life now, which I'm catered for amply. Um, I don't travel. I don't have a car. I don't go to the pubs or out to restaurants or things like that. Um, but I don't have anyone to go to those places with in any case, save for the very rare occasion I go out with my daughter and my nephew. And so I've got a very, very sedentary life filled with all the things that I like to do. But what's happened since I've stopped taking creatine, and I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, but I've been off creatine now for about 4 or 6 weeks. And I no longer have the level of contentedness just to go about doing all the things.
Didn't you mean a kratom?
Oh, kratom, yeah, kratom. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
creatine. Yeah, kratom. And so the kratom, puts you in a nice contented bubble. And I was very happy with everything I was doing all day long. And meditation was so easy. Reading the book was easy. Um, just walking around nature was so easy because you're in your little bubble, and
yeah.
you've got a greater appreciation. But now I've come out of that, and it's kind of like I'm getting thoughts of like, well, maybe you should be doing something, and I'm like, what the fuck? What? Doing something like what? And now, it's kind of like a job. It's not possible for me to do a job. I'm unemployable in any case because I don't have a curriculum vitae. I don't have any track record for anybody on the planet. So
Yeah,
nobody's ever going to employ me because you can't get to see anybody until you've sent them your information via email, and I've got nothing to send them. And so nobody would ever invite me to an interview. So I have to do my own work. And the only things I can do is like write books, increase my YouTube channel. But increasing your YouTube channel, you have to think about what people want. And if I wanted to increase my channel, I'd have to dumb everything down, and I'd have to give stupid clickbait and how to do this and how to do that, because all the idiots want to know how to do shit because they can't
yeah.
think for themselves. But I'm just not prepared to do that. I never started this channel to do a how to. So that's out of the question. Writing books. It is reputed on the internet when you do research that the average book sale is about 250, unless you are very, very famous and you've got publishing companies which are promoting your book. And so my book is like it's 80 copies so far, and it's only been going about 2 months, 2.5 months, and I'm only promoting it on my channel. But if I expanded the channel and kept pushing it and all that sort of thing, then slowly, more people would buy it. But it's never going to make me a millionaire, and so I'm thinking, well, I've got more books to write, but what's the point? What's the point in writing them if you're going to sell 100 copies, something like that? So my level of contentment now is kind of like, well, there's nothing to engage me in writing. I've grown bored of my music. There's not much foraging to do around. I don't look up at the clouds in 1000% awe like I used to. There's kind of like a bit of a, a normalcy come back to my brain. So, do any of these things? Do you relate to any of those things on a psychological level?
Yeah, yeah. I can do that. Yeah, you know. I mean, last month or so, I've been less into nature as well.
Right,
And well, well, there has been great times also, but absolutely. And I know that, like you say, kratom puts you in a bliss and so on. I was on kratom between 2015 to 2017 or something like that.
right,
And
okay,
then I just tried it a little bit on and off, but I was on it straight like that. And when I went to another country, I just went off it. I wasn't thinking that I had any urge for it. I probably maybe had it, just wasn't thinking about it because well, like when I went to Thailand, I just went into Thai boxing gym right away or something like that, you know.
So you had lots of things to take your mind off it, to give you more purpose, and to get out of bed and do everything. So you wouldn't have noticed the difference really too much, because your mind was very busy doing that, of course.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Um, but what about the sort of sedation or the sedentary? How are you feeling? Are you feeling like low energy, or just can't be bothered, or frustrated because there's no prospects? You see, look, if I even ever did want to try to get a job, you look in the paper, or you look on the internet, and there's just absolute shit, and you think, what the fuck? Who would ever do that shit? Who would ever do that shit? You can get driving jobs, you can work in a factory, you can answer the phone, you can do some shit in an office, but unless you got a PhD and you're doing science research and this, that, and the other, what else is there to do? Become a refuse collector, sweep the roads. What the fuck is there to do which is imaginative, that keeps people inspired?
The problem is that society is like just society where you there's a lot of people that you don't know, a lot of people that you don't give a shit about, you know, and so on. But the thing is, I think in a smaller group setting, you know, like let's say call it a tribe or gang or whatever, you know, get together with people, meditate, and maybe yeah, one can constellate it in many different way. People can gather it around having Harley Davidsons and meditate or whatever, you know, and having a clubhouse or something like that. That would be more worthy because then you're working for the things that you really like, you know. That I would think is really great. Just take an example. You know, midsummer, what that is. It is
Oh,
like no, it's like the biggest holiday or festival in Sweden.
oh, right, okay, I didn't
It's
know that.
very pagan, you know. You
Right,
have like a phallus like that kind of. It is like flowers and so on.
okay,
You dance around it and so on, you know. Um, I was at the farm together with other people at midsummer. There were people that had a certain mindset that were there. It wasn't like the uh, like multiculturalized kind of midsummer that maybe other people see kind of nowadays. I don't know what other people see, but it's a tradition, so to speak. But when we were there, Um, we also did some Thai boxing. We did some Krav Maga. You know, there was a other man who is a strong man lifter. You know, like that. You know, so we did a kind of those exercises as well, where you walk with stuff like that. You
yeah,
know, and oh, of course there were a lot of kids as well. So much activity for the kids as well. But we did some things besides that. You know, he taught us a bit how you butcher the boar and so on, like
mm-hmm,
cutting the leg and so on. A certain man there, so we just went aside and did that because there was a lot of space for
yeah,
that. And we meditated. We did some yoga. We read some book as well. We read this together, Men Amongst the Ruins by Julius Vola. I've read
right,
it before, but we read it together at this point in time,
uh-huh,
and so on. So that is the thing. When you have a lot of people around you that don't are not like wired the least like you are. Just a little bit would be more satisfying because
yeah,
because people who were there maybe they weren't spiritually enlightened, all people, but all of them were kind of well read, and it was like about 40, 50 adults who are have certain knowledge about stuff, so it was
Hmm.
pretty high standard,
Yes.
and so on. So um, that is really the thing, that society is just just negative altogether,
Yes. So is this midsummer thing? Is it some sort of like pagan convention?
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of pagan, but it's also societal. It is
Right.
have been
So you
in
go back
Sweden.
to tradition and old school types of
Yeah,
things. Yeah. Well, you see,
folkish with
yeah.
folk costumes and so on.
Yeah, I mean, lots of my videos, I'm always speaking about how societies are dead. There is nothing going on. The heyday of the human being is when we were in groups of no more than 300 in small tribes communities where we are all working with our hands. You've got a fletcher making arrows, you've got a bowman, you've got a basket maker, you've got all different sorts of hunters and weavers and clothes makers and all that sort of thing, and everybody depends on everybody, and everybody works with everybody. Everybody respects everybody because they're all valid members of the community. And then there's a tavern there, and there's a maybe a restaurant, and where you can get a bowl of gruel and all this sort of thing. So you've got all that stuff going on, a good tight community, and you've all got a purpose. These days, everything's stratified. Everyone's scattered all over the place. Nobody knows what the next person's doing. And if you've got neighbours living next to you, they go out of the house in the morning, they come back in the evening time. And if you ever speak to them and they tell you, oh, they're a banker or they're an estate agent, well, that's about all you'd know, because you wouldn't be getting into the intricacies of it because it's boring as shit. We all know what estate agents and bankers do, and it's boring as fuck. And so there's nothing to engage people with. And so you're reading Julius Evola. I'm reading Julius Evola. I'm reading Ride the Tiger.
Yeah,
Uh, and you see, Evola, he's always speaking about the downfall of man. He's speaking about the lack of centre on the human being, the lack of community, making references to things like Nietzsche when he said God is dead and all those sort of things. And,
yeah,
he finished writing because he died in about 1973. So, he was writing prolifically, I suppose, 50s and the 60s. And he could see it then. If he could see it now, he'd be turning in his grave, because we have gone super full steam ahead into societal decay. In the 70s, I mean, at least you still kind of had difference in political parties, and there was much more tradition that was adhered to, and vastly less foreigners, which tear at our culture, because we're all got this white person guilt, and now we feel guilty, we're supposed to, when we practice and we want to do our traditional things, but there's too many brown people around now that don't want us to do that, and so it really is fucked on many levels. And I don't know what's gonna happen to it, to be fair, Andre, because I try to communicate with my viewers, and it's near on impossible. And the thing is about it, I was listening to Eric Weinstein. You know who he is?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
a very, very intellectual, brother of Brett Weinstein, they're actually called. And they're in this community, Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, and all those sort of people, Joe Rogan. And they're intellectual, and they're all self made men, from doing what they have been doing. And outside of that, I don't know what there is. I really don't know what there is. I look on YouTube, and there's just a complete load of tosh. Everybody just repeating shit, just trying to get on the cash cow. And I'm just thinking, well, it's pathetic. But what Eric Steen said was, he said, look, I can get 1 million views on any of my videos, and not a single one of the comments would have any relevance to what I was saying in the video. And I go, Hail fucking Mary. Hail Mary, somebody else has fucking said it. And I'm like, what on earth is happening? I put up, what I consider, what I've always considered, to be good videos, Andre. I mean, the likes of you and a few others, you'll comment on a video of substance, and you are in line with the things that I'm saying. But of course, I go off on so many different tangents. Everybody can't be in line all the time. But very, very few people ever say anything which is really relevant to the video. And like, aha, yes, amazing that you're talking about that, or great that you're speaking about that, or I've got something to say about that. Nothing. Everybody's just dead. Everybody's just doing their own shit, Andre, and it doesn't mean anything to them. Nothing means anything to anybody anymore. And so I say to people, what the fuck means anything to you guys? Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, it's beyond tragic, you know. It's like it is like Julius Evola says in the last chapters in Revolt Against the Modern World, that people are like worms chewing at the scavenge or something like that, you know, the
Yeah.
carcasses. And when everything falls, it will just be not even tragic. It will just be like, well, it has already been tragic before, so it's so bad that it's not tragic that it's over, you know?
Yeah, and oh, good God. I think to myself, what else can I say to them that would get any response? And other than, really dumbing it down and, doing stupid shit like, I don't know, how to shave your fucking legs, I suppose. How to shave your fucking legs. I tell you, if I did a how to shave your legs, then millions of people have probably been clicking on it. Oh, what's this guy shaving his legs? Is he trans? Is he gay? Is he And then they'll be interested in that. But if you spoke to them about the things I speak to them about, then 200 hits maximum with 5 comments and one of them that's even remotely in tune. And so I've just, for years, I've just, I keep throwing the fucking towel in. I keep throwing the towel in because there's no point. We are in a very, very high level of degradation. A human being is going down, and there ain't nothing gonna fucking stop it.
Yeah. And well, let's see where to begin. Yeah, because they are dumbed down, they get easily manipulated. And it's not only psychological, because it is like Julius Evola says as well, and you have said as well, it's a spiritual war. So if you are dumbed down, the demons will work through that person, you know. And that kind of people can't be trusted. I just listened to like a Swedish so-called gangster rap from the hood, so to speak. Like actually, a lot of the young people, or even people born in the 2000s or before that, is listening to
Millennials.
that kind of shit, and it's
Yeah.
even more satanic than like Satanism music. You know, it's
Right.
so hellish and it's so disturbing that I mean, people that are maybe good people could be manipulated by that because they're not realizing what they are listening to, you know.
Hmm.
And just by having that person nearby you that seems like a kind of okay person or something like that, or even a person that is nice to talk to or whatever, that person ain't good because he's listening to that kind of music. He is a manipulator because that kind of music actually is manipulative music. So they become devilish in their innermost world, So you
Right.
need also to look at the outer aspect. If the person is fat and he has kind of a dumb tattoos on himself and so on, he's probably not good to have around you know.
Mm. Yeah.
And maybe he's taking a bunch of bad drugs as well, snorting and stuff like that. And that kind of people are fucking devils.
Mm.
Like that's what the feeling I get out of just what I have observed.
So what is your city like at this moment in time? I'll tell you what mine's like as a comparison. Of course, when I was growing up, the city was, predominantly white, and the city was a fully functioning working city. Very, very busy with all the shops. Now, the vast majority of the shops are closed down, and there is literally a Bulgarian, Hungarian, Turkish, Armenian, Gypsy, fucking barber shop, every other shop, or a Bulgarian or fucking Turkish chip shop. So all these immigrants come over. People say that they're dealing drugs and they're laundering money through all these shops because you walk down one road and you got barbershop, 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 chip shop, chip shop, chip shop. They've got spicy chips and all these. It's just the easiest business in the world. You just fry up some potatoes and you put some fucking spice on them, and the idiots, come out the bazaar and then they buy them, and that's all they live on, chips. Um,
Yeah,
but you walk down the cities, and they're like ghost towns these days, except for the barbers and the chippies. And there's the vast amount of people is all different sorts of brown people, and they're all disconnected. You've got different sorts of creeds from different nations, and language barriers and all sorts of things. White people don't want to go into the town anymore. It's changed. It's not what we grew up with. It's been infested. It's taken over by a bunch of cockroaches, for want of a relevant, feasible simile to what's going on. They're just horrible, and I'm like,
yeah,
I've been some shitholes in my life, Andre, all around the world, but my home city now, is way up there. And so yeah, it's decadence, which is being
yeah.
forced in.
Right, right through. Sweden is the rape capital of the world.
Right,
Yeah, and yeah, if it was 2 years ago, we had like over 200 bombings or something like that. Bombs just go off at the fucking police station or anything like that.
right.
Things like that. So it's especially here in southern Sweden. It's you even Swedes get colder because they can't trust anybody because it is like it is, and some it's horrible. It's a fucking shit looking at it. I don't think about it so much more than when I come to another place in Sweden. I see, wow, here's fucking white all around, and people are polite to each other and so on. But here, of course, it isn't that smart kind of people, the brownies, so to speak.
Hmm.
And also, I can despise the Swedish as much, because they are weak.
Yes.
So it's just a fucking chaos. But when I am with people and I talk to people, I can have a certain liking for them. I can feel a liking towards them when I sit down and talk to them. But when I look upon them at mass, it's horrible. They shouldn't have a saying in anything
Yes.
because if you can't get get a fair amount of knowledge about what you're talking about in certain areas, you shouldn't even be allowed to say anything. It's almost like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, these opinions, I've been vouchsafing, for many years. It's kind of like people, unless they have a valid appraisal or let's say education certificate or something, they shouldn't be allowed to vote because you see, if educated people are not voting, then who is voting? All the idiots who are so easily manipulated and under hypnosis with the promises and the bullshit. And so then what happens is, look, for instance, like in America, we all know what's going on there. They've got all these immigrants coming in and they're trying to get the vote. The left wants their vote. Who are these immigrants voting for? They're voting for handouts. They're voting for homes. They're voting, for education and free doctors and free this and free that. And real Americans don't want them to have that because it's a drain on their society and on their nation. But so therefore, then the educated Americans, which are becoming less and less and less, they are few when they go to the ballot, polling stations. But when you've imported millions of immigrants and they all cruise into the polling stations and vote, well, what are they voting for? They're voting to tear America to pieces. And that's what they're doing in the whole of the world. That's what this liberalism, that's what this new world order, globalism is all about. It's to tear every single nation down to the lowest denomination. So they're
Yes.
absolutely weak and backboneless and malleable.
Yeah.
And they're doing it very, very well because there doesn't appear to be anybody anymore. There's no real men. And because they have um, made it so difficult for the man in the street to settle his own feuds, then the slightest little altercation will get you in prison for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and it's become exceedingly oppressive. And I just remember, say 40 years ago when I was growing up, we was always with mates and things to do, places to go, loads of us driving around in the cars. Let's say we'd have 10, cars driving to any given place where we'd all convene and we'd have parties and house parties and everything like that. But the heart has gone out of it now. Nobody wants to do it anymore. And even 20 years ago, when I was still out on the town, we stopped going into town due to the scum that was so pervasive everywhere. And we knew that we was going to get into a fight started by those idiots, and mostly they carry knives or stupid stuff. And if you can protect yourself like I can, and you do some damage on them, then it'd be me that'd be going to prison and not them. And even though they started it, but because they're brown, obviously it was a white man, because that's how it's all been rigged up. And so we stopped going into the city, and nobody goes into the city anymore now. And if people have a bit of a social event around their house, they'll do that now and again. But even the spirit's gone out of that. Because got to get up for work. Oh, too busy. I can't afford it. And there's just all
And
this
they're
shit
glued
going
to
on.
their phone all the time. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that's all they want to do in any case. And so yeah, I really don't know. Today, quite often, to be frank, look, when something goes wrong with my computer, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what now? And you get blocked out, and then you've got to keep constantly signing in, and they want to send you the code to your phone, and I'm like, I don't need a fucking phone. I don't need the fucking computer. I don't need any of this bullshit. And seriously,
Yeah.
I just want to trash the whole lot and give the fucking bird.
Yes.
to the world. I'm done with this bullshit, and I'll go cycling around to secondhand bookstores, and I'll buy books again like I did fucking 20 years ago. Because you float around on YouTube, it's just the same old fucking bullshit, clickbait, fucking claptrap, and you know, yeah, of course, YouTube is useful. I mean, I've just been watching squirrel videos. It's useful if we pick and choose, to watch what we want to watch. And I, like you, spend, a few hours a day reading. So I'm still doing that. But I just wonder where this shit's going, Andre. I really do.
Yeah.
And I look around here, and I don't see any communities. I don't see any groups of friends. Doing what we used to do when we was younger. It's also stratified. It's also insular, and everybody's been separated. And mostly, I think probably just at home, like you say, looking in the phones. So the new world order of divide and conquer is absolutely working. And I, really don't know what the end game is, just to have everybody, in their homes staring into the computer or to the television like George Orwell 1984.
Yeah. I kind of feel it's like important to um, just for the sake of it. It's a good thing to die for something. I feel you
Mm,
know. So something like that. Having. I'm not certainly into wife or children. Maybe a good girl, so to speak, is fair enough, and having like a tribe of friends, where we have kind of warrior hierarchy, where the men do their stuff and women do their kind of stuff, and we at certain points intermingle together, building community. That is really what I
But this is
like.
the sort of influence we get when we read Julius Evola,
Yeah,
because Evola touches us at a primal level.
yeah,
Those that have the compunction, um, uh, to read Evola. Those of us that seek out Evola, you're not just going to come upon any Evola videos unless you really seek him out. And you're not going to come up any books unless you seek him out. And so the variety of people that do seek him out have already, like you and I, been looking at alternate stuff for a long, long time. And we're looking at a decaying world now, and we know that the real human being is the warrior. And all the great thinkers have said this, from time memorial. And, Plato with his kings and philosophers, thinking people need also to be, some variety of warrior with a high level of chivalry, and
yeah,
honor, which is the natural state of the perfect human being, prepared to die for your tribe and what you believe in and all those sort of things. Well, I mean, it's okay fantasizing about it and to speaking about small tribes and men that are brave. Well, I don't know any brave men anymore, Andre, and I haven't known any for a very long time.
yeah. That is the thing. I think one can reach them in a way, and everything is like people have work to do on themselves. I have work to do on myself. You have work to do on yourself, and so on. And I would think that there is certain people that one can awaken a warrior spirit in, so to speak, and also maybe some women that could awaken to their true femininity as well. So. Um, as it should be.
Yeah, well, I mean, how would women awaken to their femininity? Well, how would that look?
I would think that they will be like in the hierarchy of a man above, like that.
Hmm.
Like also, everyone talks about this. The sun is subordinated to the moon, and so on.
Yes, yeah.
And all when a society reaches a degeneration, it becomes like more of a moon cult, so to speak,
Mm,
where it's ordered more around the feminine principles like equality and stuff like that, where
yeah.
the masculine kind of structure is like actually structure, a hierarchy, and so on, where everything has its true place in like
It,
ordered from upward,
yeah, it's
so
from
to
the
speak.
cosmos. Well, you
Yeah,
see, all the ancient, gods and myths and hierarchical systems and everything, they're all based on, you this alchemical way of looking at things. In Egypt and, all the ancient other, cultures, which, had some sort of pagan allegiance. I think the dead desert dogma religions was the beginning of the downfall of humanity, because it took us away from the true gods of the world, which they're all mythological gods. They're all in the wind and in the sun and in the moon and in the ocean and in the land and in the soil. That's where the true gods reside. And
yeah,
what they did was they took us away from that and gave us some bullshit between the fucking texts of indecipherable crap within the fucking Bible and Quran, and
exactly.
so that was the major step towards the demise of the human being. And
Yeah,
of course, then coming into the softness of modern societies, where everything is ultimately going to merge into one drone of a human being. And, that's what they're trying to do now by eliminating the sexes and eliminating the difference between the masculine and the feminine. And so there is no masculine and feminine. And, everybody's just mingling around, supposedly capable of doing exactly the same jobs. And then there'll be robots intermingled with us, and more and more the robots will have jurisdiction over us because, without a shadow of a doubt, they will be made policemen. And so then we will be terrified of the robots, and we'll have the greatest respect for the robots because, they could take away so much of our liberty. And, it's the end of the road for the human being. It really is.
yeah,
And, I made a video, the last video that I put up, and I'm asking, basically, I'm saying World War Three, huh, who cares? Nobody cares. We could be on the precipice of a World War Three, and we by now at least should be on the precipice of Armageddon, the apocalypse, and we should be on the precipice of another fake virus and all the rest of it, all this shit. And it's kind of like, well, nobody cares anymore. Everybody's just dull, dumbed down, and just plodding along with doing what they're doing, and all the big thinkers of the world, none of them are talking about it. They're too busy raking hundreds of thousands of dollars in for every time they go and sit before a bunch of fucking idiots.
yeah,
Losing themselves in their own verbal masturbation when they're not talking about real issues that need to be fucking spoken about.
hmm. Yeah. There was a couple of things I started to think about along the way. Also, when it comes to Abrahamic religions and so on, there are like the Gnostic Meister Eckhart is really in line with a lot of what Evola say, or of course it's Evola who is inspired uh, by Meister Eckhart,
Yeah.
because he was a Gnostic, but he was a Christian as well, you know. But he actually talks about God in a vastly different way, I would say. Like, let's see, Meister Eckhart said, like, being is God. God and existence are identical. Should I be able to recognize God in an immediate way, then I must become He, and He must become I, pure and simple, so completely at one that this He and this I are one and will become and be one and exist and act eternally in this way and form of being.
Yes, and when I'm reading Evola, and just anyone that's great, and this is why I bluster out, about my own genius, because I came to these conclusions before I read most of this stuff in them books, and I'm like, so what is it? Look, for a long time, Andre, in my videos, I've been saying, stop with this fucking bullshit about all these fucking stupid gods all over the fucking place. We are God. Don't you fucking get it? It is consciousness that gives rise to every fucking thing. And so therefore consciousness must have given rise to the fiction of a God over and above us. And
Yeah,
you can't penetrate anybody with that stuff these days. Nobody at all. Because I haven't even had a few people go, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just not possible. And it's kind of like, well, it's so elementary to me. It's so simple. You've got people that are geniuses, Meister Eckhart, and, wrote about, all throughout, the fucking hundreds of years since he died, as what a brilliant person. And when you look at it, what did he say in lots of respects? What did anyone say in lots of respects? It's basic human knowledge at the core. If you are a real human being, in touch with the fucking cosmos, then you know all this stuff. You know it to the core, and it is so elementary. But I go, I must be fucking genius because I can't get a single one of you motherfuckers, to be in line with what I'm saying, or to give me a quote like you do from all these, people that have been saying it, for hundreds of fucking years. And I've given up, and I'm thinking, well, I think it's probably time every man for himself, because you ain't raising no fucker, you ain't raising the dead, I ain't raising no dead. And people are just not they're just not prepared to take that on board, to realize that we are God. Any way you look at it, people, can you fucking look at it? Can you use your rational minds and try to convince yourself, using your own intelligence, why you are not God? Because every time you look in the Bible or the Quran, it is so weak, it is so flimsy, it's so pathetic that, are you going to believe that? Well, you may as well die now, motherfucker, because you're worthless fucking pink ape scum. You fucking die now, because there's nothing left here for you. You've deteriorated into your own fucking mental atrophy. We're reading these fucking books that don't mean a fucking thing. All they do is spin your head round in circles until in the end you just give up all thinking. And that's why I get fired up about it, Andre, because for me it's so elementary. I just look around and it's the most elementary thing you could ever fucking realize. You just look into the simple things about, well, what's the nature of consciousness? Well, we don't know. Well, what's the nature of intuition? Well, we don't know. What's the nature of God? Well, we don't know. Well, it seems to me that all those things are the same fucking thing: intuition, consciousness, and God. Well, we have consciousness, we have intuition, so we must fucking have God. You know, it ain't out there. We don't have to buy it, beg and bow and fucking grovel to no motherfucking pie in the sky. We are God. Consciousness is God. Period. Done with it. If the world realized that, it would be a very, very different place. We would be powerful beyond measure. But you see, it's those motherfuckers that printed these Bibles and Korans that have got the whole world pretty well exactly where they want them now. And I don't know whether it's some sort of fucking Archon, fucking demons, or what the fuck's going on, but something's going on. It ain't good.
No.
I mean, it's so elementary, and anybody that thinks just has to come to the same conclusion. I've never met a so-called Christian or Muslim that was a thinking person. I just haven't met them.
It's problematic because when a person might not have been a Christian or like a Muslim to begin with and become one of those, they restrain their thinking. They might, some people might even have had a better capacity to think before they became that. Some
Yeah,
of
they
them.
throw it all out. They throw all their thinking capacity out, and
Yeah.
that's now where we are. And when you've got the like of Jordan Peterson, who endlessly is banging on about the biblical corpus, and I'm like, what are you fucking trying to do? What are you trying to do with this? Where's it going when you're asking all your followers to give up their own autonomy? That's basically what any religious person does. Give up your own autonomy and bow down and worship to some fiction of something higher.
Yeah,
Um,
put their life force in that kind
Yeah,
of
put the
stuff.
life force in it. And, in some weak communal way, it serves a purpose because everybody's focused on the same thing. And, like in the old days, if you did believe in Zeus and fucking Apollo and all those sort of things, and you believe that you're going to be chastised or persecuted or struck down if you went against them, then it kept a certain amount of order. But people don't believe in that stuff anymore now. And so, what's the point in believing in it?
Yeah, yeah, but we live in like a fallen age, so it's actually falling, and at a certain point in time, those kind of gods were real because people put their energy in those
Yes, they were
entities.
that
Those
egregoric gods.
exactly like you said
They
before. Yeah,
actually had a life
yeah,
force and energy to them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because they throughout time, this kind of pagan goddess lose a bit of that life force.
Yeah. And you see, if we went back to paganism, then we would love the world, we would love the soil, we would love all things natural, all the animals and everything like that. And if we got back in touch with our circadian rhythms, in relation to the sun and the moon and all this different sort of stuff. But the thing is, you see, what happens? When we enter into the cities, on most occasions, because you've got built up city all around you, you don't see the sunset anymore, and you don't see the sun rise, and you don't see the moon set and the moon rise. Now, these things are really, really psychologically important to see at the first glimmer of a silver lining as the moon comes up over the horizon of an evening time, and as the sun goes down. And they are powerful things. And when I used to live out in more rural regions, well, you'd see it all the time, and you'd have a very deep connection to the world. But when you lose sight of that, and particularly when you live in a country like Great Britain or lots of Europe, where we barely ever see the moon due to the cloud cover, well, we lose that connection with our pagan roots. And what's happened now is that the mobile phone and the internet has superseded the sun and the moon. So we've lost connection with those and all the natural things, and now we're just in oblivion. We don't know whether it's night or fucking day most of the time because nobody notices.
Yeah, it's pretty symbolic in that way as well. They are pointing their heads down into the phone while the transcendent world is
Yeah. And so the whole thing about being a human being is being transcendent. It is realizing your connection with the cosmos, and your part in it, and um, the value that everything has, and the value of being under the stars at night and being out in the elements and all these different sorts of things. We've just become so detached from all of that stuff now that people barely even notice whether it's spring, summer, or fall. They're just on the tube. Can you imagine people, Andre, the people in cities who don't ever see a green field? They just get out of their apartment, they get on the tube, they go to their work, and they go back again, and that's all they ever see. They don't see anything like the natural elements or anything that's going to keep them bonded to their roots. And everything they buy is in a fucking packet or frozen. And so, yeah, it's really, really bizarre. And I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. But one thing we do see is that people throughout millennia, even going back 2,000 years, you saw people speaking about the decay then.
yeah.
And
And
so it's been a constant escalation, since then.
yeah, it's just furthering, beyond the measure of what the one would think, you know. But I kind of, when I think about it, how both Rene Guénon and Evola talks about it, I kind of think like they kind of knew where it was going,
Yeah.
like where we are now, it's like it's really down to the material world, and the machine is taking over, and that is really like like what can one say? It's really heretic in a way, Man becomes machine instead of becoming God, becoming
Yeah.
trapped in the material world, which is like the gravitational pull towards hell, one could
Mm,
say.
yeah. So in the Tao Te Ching, um, what Lao Tzu is speaking about is that the closest we are to our animal form, the closer we are to the oneness of the cosmos. I.e., when we are out in the fields, when we're working and we're building our homes out of wood and stone, and we're labouring under the sun, and we go to bed when the sun goes down, or at least go in and we'll light a candle, and then we get up at dawn again because there's so much to do, and you go out there in all the elements and everything. And okay, so times change. There's still countries on the planet and people living like that, and I don't doubt that they are living more fulfilling lives. But if we bring it back to ourselves now in suburbia, we have all been trapped. We have had this net thrown over us, like one of these fishing nets that just throw into the air, and they've got weights on them, and they fall down and grab a load of fish in between. Well, I mean, the whole thing now. I've been thinking how. What would I do? What could I do if I wanted to throw in the towel with my mobile phone? If I said to the government, fuck your mobile phone, I'm not having you keeping tags on me like that, and I don't want any of this bullshit on the internet with you got to remember your secret fucking number. There's something strange on your account. Just send you this thing to your phone just to check that it's you. They're always just checking that it's you every 5 fucking minutes, and I'm sick up to here, and I'm wondering, what the government would do if you said to them, look, I ain't got no phone anymore and I ain't got no computer. Whether they could try to stop your money, because there has to be some sort of provision whereby they can't do that. They say it's kind of like it's an obligation that you have to have a phone if we're going to be paying you. Well, I'm like, well, it depends on what circumstances. Because if you told them that you're fucking insane, then you couldn't use the phone. Then they'd have to come up with something else. And so I'm just wondering, in the not too distant future, how many people are just going to be throwing the phones down the fucking toilet because it's driving them fucking insane?
Hmm.
You know,
Probably,
that they want to rebel against this.
yeah. Maybe there will be some, but probably more the other way around, that they will have their fucking mobile phone right in their
Yeah,
skull.
yeah, yeah. Oh my god. And what would they be doing then? Would they be sending you your Google alerts, through your Elon Musk fucking brain chip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people who think, no, I will not go on with that, will do it. People just follow. They do it.
Yeah.
They say one thing, but they do another thing.
Yeah, and so you see then, look, in recent videos, I've been speaking about people with no internal monologue, no internal dialogue, and so the people with no internal monologue, they're the first to go because well, they've got no defense against any of this stuff because they couldn't make any decisions. If you don't have an internal monologue, how can you have an argument or debate with yourself about whether you wanted anything or not? You couldn't. If you don't have this voice of consciousness in your head, like lots of people, have you looked into this stuff, Andre? Because it is fucking bizarre.
I heard it from a friend before. Then I heard it from you a long time ago, I think.
Yeah,
And that friend, he said, like, there's people that don't have an internal monologue. And I thought, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, because if you're under like 100 IQ, you don't have an internal dialogue or monologue.
yeah,
Oh my fucking God. I couldn't imagine how that could be like that.
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, and so then you ask yourself, well, where do they get their information? They get it from societal programming. That's why they're so addicted to Twitter and to Facebook and to whatever news there is on. They're absolutely addicted to that because they've got no thoughts of their own, and so that's the only place their information comes from. And so already, Andre, the vast majority of the world has got their chip in their brain. They don't have fucking brains. They don't have minds of their own. So as soon as the antennae and the fiber octave cable was invented, well, it was all over for them. They're a complete automaton, and that's why they all went running to get their squirty shit. Three quarters of the population of the world. And so when Elon Musk finally, comes up with, his chip for everyone, or when the government decide that they're going to utilize it, well, they're going to be the first to fall. And of course, it's going to be them then that turn into societal police and have an issue with us. And it almost got to that point during COVID because they were telling us, to shun anybody that's not vaccinated, anybody that doesn't take this. They're the outcast. They don't deserve to be with us. And you've got one bitch. I think she's called the fucking Judge Judy or something. She was advocating that the non-vaccinated should be all rounded up and put on a separate fucking continent.
Yeah.
They already think about this shit, and these terrified fucking muppets, literally, they're the thing to be feared, because there's billions of them, and they're so easily programmed. We don't need to fear policemen. We don't need to fear soldiers because they're one in a fucking thousand or 10,000 or whatever, and they're very regional. When they're coming in, you'll know about it. But these are the motherfuckers. They're everywhere, living in the same fucking building, in the same house as you, and they'll just turn on you.
Yeah.
And not only that, Andre, if you've ever read Gulag Archipelago, then you'll see that during the Stalin times,
Yes.
all the Russians did the same. They were all grassing up on their own family and friends and mothers and fathers.
Exactly what I thought about. It is really a communist system, like
Yeah.
just the same devilish kind of
So
stuff,
look,
the same stuff.
I've got no fucking holds barred here, and I've been calling the pink ape fucking vermin for many many years, and it's not likely that I'm ever going to be turning around on that, because the pink ape is a very, very stupid creature. The non-thinking ones, they are pure automaton, and they are just waiting to get programmed by governments into turning on you and doing whatever the government wants them to do. And I have never had any doubt about this, and this is why I always treat them with the contempt that they deserve, because I know what them fuckers are capable of in an instant. As soon as they was
Yeah.
look, if the government said, "Look, okay, these thinking people, they're a scourge on this planet, so we've got to eradicate them," and so they would broadcast it on their media, and then they would fucking give them license to go and kill all the thinking people. I don't think
Yeah.
that's impossible. I really don't.
No, absolutely not, because they just do what they are being told.
Yeah,
It's like because they don't know their shadow, they don't know their dark side. So it's like um, people who want to be seen as good people, just be seen as good people, are the worst kind of people.
yeah, it's just fucking idiots. And so when in this day and age, if there's anybody that still thinks that the powers that be are not creating these wars to reduce the population and to gain resources and make themselves even richer, if anybody doesn't know that by now, even the stupidest of fucks, well, I mean, I've got no sympathy for them. And apparently there's 500,000 of these variety of people, waiting to go over the border into Ukraine at this very moment. And I'm thinking, well, good,
To
good, every single one of you. I hope you all get your faces burnt off because uh, uh, you're just dogs of war. You're just stupid cunts. They've been using you for fucking ever, and they'll go on using you. And so the more those fuckers that are dead, the better. And then the less opportunity they've got of doing it. And so I'm saying World War III, bring it on, bring it on. The world needs thinning out. It really does. And of course, you see the powers that be know that, and that's why they're doing it. And I go,
Yeah.
well, I was obviously born in the wrong body. or in the wrong family. I should have been born in the Rothschild family or something like that because I think exactly like them. I despise these motherfuckers that are all living around me. They
Yeah.
literally are the walking fucking dead.
But I at the same time, yeah, Rothschild has this their place where they are, but they are like they are like the merchant caste, so to speak. So
Yeah,
it's really not they are not really the noble caste, but they are like yeah, the kind of people that are very devilish in nature because their god is like some demon from the Old Testament, so to speak.
yeah. Okay, well, let's have a talk about that because I'm very indifferent and skeptical about this devilish nature because I think that we don't need to be devilish to look at the shitfest of the human being, and for clever people to take mastery over the less clever people. I mean,
No,
it's a hierarchical system. The whole world is a hierarchical system, and every single animal does it to every other animal. And so if we don't do it to ourselves, then it will be the downfall of us, because what will happen is there'll be so many of these deadbeats, there'll be so many of these inbreds which like are all copulating with each other and having more spina bifida, fucking, kids and fucking retards. You
yeah,
can't keep protecting the bottom rung of the ladder. And so Evola wouldn't agree with it, Hitler wouldn't agree with it, Stalin wouldn't agree with it. No fucker in position of power would ever agree with it. That's the thing.
no.
Nobody in power would ever agree with it. When we look at our people, when you look at British politicians, American politicians, Swedish politicians, not a single one of them believe that we should keep catering for the bottom rung of the ladder. They don't. They all want them cold in some shape or form. And so I don't think that that's an evil thing. I just think it's a natural thing that has to happen.
Maybe that I also think that, but I look also at it's where they spiritually come from. They are not from the the Aryan stock, so to speak. It's
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, I don't
the
know where they come from. There's lots of speculation, where these,
and if you look at their like facial structure, how they look and so on, they're not beautiful in the face because if they don't have a beautiful outward, they are fucking ugly inside. Also, if you're ugly
yeah,
outside, you're ugly inside as well. And if you
mm,
look at Rothschild and all those kind of stuff, they fucking look like devils.
yeah, and George Soros, Anthony Fauci, all these sort of people, you wouldn't trust them as far as you can throw them. Um, but okay, so if they are evil, they're only teeny little demons. Because look at what they're doing. They could have been doing it 1,000 times bigger than they're doing it now. They're just doing it in a teeny, teeny little way. If they really were serious about what they're fucking gonna do, then you think they'd just fucking do it. They do the Armageddon. They fucking nuke the major cities out, and they have their plan that they're gonna be moving to sub cities and starting again, and all different sorts of stuff. If they are intent on population reduction, then they best get on with it, as far as I can see.
Hmm.
But then you get other people saying that, we're not overpopulated at all. I mean, the world is massive, and there's plenty of room, plenty of resources. And okay, there is. But because the people are so stupid, then it just takes a massive amount of organizing all these stupid people.
Yeah,
Um,
they absolutely. I also think that it's good with the reduction of the human being, but we must make sure that it's the worst kind of people that need to go first.
well, yeah. I mean, the
The
bottom.
people with the big bear bellies and the people that fuck their own goats and so on.
Yeah.
Those kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. And, look, at the end of the day, whatever Hitler was, he got that one right. He got that one right about eliminating all those, eliminating all the parasites of the world. And we know who they were. And the whole world still got to wake up to that motherfucker. Yeah, the parasites that, wanted to put us where we are now. And you see, this is it. I mean, I'm just a shit kicker living in a rented apartment in a fucking two-bit village in England, and yet I can see all this, and I can see it all as clear as day. And whereas the vast majority of people, they've all been under hypnosis, and they don't see it. And Hitler was evil, and Stalin was evil, and all these people were evil. Well, look, if they didn't do what they did, can you imagine what the population would be now? So let's just say, beginning from the early 1900s, when Stalin and Mao Zedong and Pol Pot and all these, people that were killing billions and billions. Well, where would we be now? We'd probably be up in the 50 billion realm, and everybody would be crying like fucking pussies because the lack of resources and this, that, and the other. And so I
Yeah.
think we should all make saints out of them. We should make saints out of every single one of them.
But what I think just about communism and socialism is like they are devilish. It's coming from like, and I don't mean it in a biblical sense, but I think it's pure demonic because they are directly non-spiritual, and they are just like Lenin's revolution. It was absolutely cold-blooded and calculated and so on. And they killed people who had an intellect.
Right.
And that is really the problem because communism is Jewish in its nature, so to speak. It's Jewish right through. So it comes from an like a merchant from a material standpoint, so to speak,
Yeah.
that is utterly demonic. So if if like the Third Reich, it was National Socialism. Okay, nationalism is kind of also sentimental in a way. It's like kind of superficial in one way, because you just accept a certain person because he comes from a certain nation. But what's even worse is socialism, because then you should accept everybody in the proletariat. Everybody is just equal. That's even worse.
Yeah. So what would you suggest the utopia looks like if we have everybody getting fatter and dumber? Uh, where are we going with that?
Uh, a society that upholds high ideals like strength, honor, physical health. Uh,
Sounds like
uh,
Nazi Germany.
yeah, kind of like that. But still, I'm not a Hitlerist, but I do like Hitler.
If you look at what Hitler was doing, then of course he rounded up all the queers and all the mentally retarded and all the you know who's that were parasites on all businesses and banks and everything like that. And he decided that he wants to get back to good old fashioned Aryan blood. And then all the women were working very, very happy and, jolly with a purpose in the factories. And all the kids were jumping over leapfrogs and, running, doing all their sports and everything. And everybody was healthy, fit, healthy, and had a purpose because they were working for the fatherland. And, so I believe that
Yeah,
that was a beautiful, perfect concept. But it just went wrong when they started
yeah,
to impose on other nations. But if you've got that
yeah,
amongst yourself, if you've got a level of discipline whereby from the earliest ages you introduce your kids, like we used to in the old days into PE, into weight training with pretty strict regimes. So you condition your citizenry into being fit and healthy. And then you've got facilities for them to continue that for the rest of their life, and society encourages it. And then you've got,
Yeah,
wholesome diets and good jobs and things to keep them stimulated and all the rest of it. Yeah, it could be very, very different. Um,
it could be, but I am still suspicious of like National Socialism as a system, because it is still a human-made system. It's still not purely spiritual, because I feel that there must be a I feel like there must be like where spirituality must come before the politics, so to speak. There
yeah,
must
but the
be a
point is,
system there where
the,
the
but the thing is, Andre, there's only a few people that are actually spirited. I mean, as far as I've travelled on this planet, and the research that I've done, and all the books I've read, um, it most certainly, absolutely, isn't the case that we're all born spirited. Um, the vast majority of people, I would say, in my estimation, are born without spirit. If they are born with spirit, it's a very, very weak one. It's a bit like we're all born with an appendix that we don't use anymore. Something's gone wrong. We're not spirited. That's why the world is like it is, because people are not spirited. They're weak and they're cowards, and they want to take the easy way all the time. They want to take the way of least resistance. So people have capitalized on that and give people what they want. And so, in an ideal world, everybody would be spiritualist. Everybody would be connected to the cosmos. Everybody, would have this notion of feeling God within us, but they don't. Where the fuck are these people?
yeah, because that isn't uh, possible in this age, so to speak, to have a society at large highly spiritual, but it must come in a new golden age, so to speak.
Must come in a new what?
In a new golden age, and in
Oh,
a
right.
new Satya Yuga, a
Yeah.
new
Okay. So,
rebirth.
so we're fucked then. We're fucked.
We're fucked until the new golden age.
So we're fucked until a miracle happens. I think that's what you're saying. Um,
The
because
golden age must come sooner or later, when everything has crushed and there's a little diaspora left of the
Well,
old
yeah. So,
world that
so obviously it's
takes
much,
under.
much later. It's coming after Armageddon. It's coming after the apocalypse. It's coming after the Third World War. It's coming after the next dozen viruses. It's coming after the next fucking half a dozen meteorites. Well, all right then. So in like 10,000 years' time, we'll enter into this new paradigm whereby maybe human beings will be much more evolved creatures. But at this moment in time, if we look around at what we've got, I've got every sympathy in the world for the people doing what they do on this world, because somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. And I look around now and I go, well, look, everybody's just aging. They're hobbling down the road in fucking pain, and most of them are not even hobbling. They're in the mobility cars driving down the road like, and they've got such dead faces, and nobody looks at them anymore because they're obsolete. They've been obsolete for fucking 20 years. You see,
Yeah,
look, nobody looks at old people anymore. Nobody treats old people when you see them walking down the street, like they are, worthy of greeting. Good morning, how are you today? Because
yeah,
you're not ever going to get any response after them. Okay. That's even if you get a glance. So people, they stop bothering. So what's happening? You've got these ghosts, these ghouls, these fucking freaks, monsters all over the fucking place, and they're just going to get more and more and more.
yeah,
What the fuck do you do with them?
yeah. it's horrendous.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I've
don't
been
know.
speaking about this. I've been making videos of recent because this moment in time, the grandmother of my daughter has just gone into a home and she's 86, and you know all the shit that goes on, pissing and shitting and forgetting her own fucking name, and just a drain on her resources that she'd accumulated in her life that should by rights be passed on to her daughter and my daughter, who have been looking after her, you know, for years. But what's going to happen is, you know, if she lives to be another 5 fucking years in the home, then every single penny out of her home is going to be gone. Because already now, what the old people's home have done, they get a lawyer involved to put an order on the house, and they say this house belongs to us now, and only if there's anything left will you get it when she fucking dies. And so I'm like, all wrong, all wrong. Where's the euthanasia? Euthanasia. You got to protect people's interests. You got to protect their property. The mother and the daughter deserve a payout on this. There's no point in keeping this fucking woman alive one day longer. And so, you know, it's about time government made a fucking decision, or at least the families could make a decision, you know, collectively. They could say, oh, you know, our mum, she was a beautiful mum and she still, you know, got a little bit of something in here. So we'll let her live out her days. And if it gobbles up all the money in the house, all our inheritance, then we're happy with that. But if you've got kids who go, well, my mother was a bitch. She beat every fucking one of us black and blue. She's fucking senile now. So let's sign the fucking contract for euthanasia. I think that should be a fair thing.
Yeah.
And if the person cannot defend herself in a court of law, then she's not capable anymore. So what's the point in her living? So look, I've got very, very out there perspectives on this because people have been very, very heavily conditioned into the opposite. I'm telling you now, Andre, 500 years ago, it wouldn't be the same. And let's just talk about the ideal world that you're speaking about. If you've got nomadic people, if you've got tribes that need to be on the fucking move all the time, they ain't carrying around no 85-year-old fucking men and women. And if they're anything like the African tribesmen, the nomads, then they leave them. When as soon as they can't fucking keep up, they leave them. And it's accepted in the whole tribe and their whole culture. They fucking leave them. Maybe they make them some last broth, and maybe they give them something make them go sleep, so the hyenas fucking eat them when they're unconscious, or something like that. But they ain't carrying them around, and they most certainly aren't having, you know, 20 of their strongest men carrying the old fuckers around for the next 20 years when they should be hunting and providing for the herd. So something's got to fucking change because this is unsustainable. And like, you know, I'm waiting to find a person that thinks remotely like me on this. I just don't think people are capable because, you know, like I say, that the programming. You know, so what would you say you do with the old people? I mean, have you got parents that are alive now, Andre?
I have parents that are alive, and my grandmother, she's 93 years old. She's at the old people's home. It's kind of tragic to see, you know. She was always happy. I would say she was
Yeah,
never
but yeah, but
complaining
yeah,
about
but
anything.
let me stop you there. Let me stop you. How can it be fucking tragic? It's natural. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
absolute.
natural. You see, all it
Yeah,
is this stupid fucking weakness of the human being holding on to something that was. It's not
yeah.
anymore, and it hasn't been for 20 or 30 fucking years. Let her go, for fuck's sake. It's not
Uh,
tragic.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying, and I actually not talking from an emotional standpoint. A little bit maybe because I see in my mother that she feel it's very demanding, you know.
Very what?
So demanding
Demanding.
that
So what the grandmother's still demanding?
no that it's like emotionally like much for my mother that she's like dementia and so on.
Right, so
That's my
your
grandmother.
mother's struggling with it. It's just a level of acceptance. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's a level of conditioning and
yeah,
acceptance. You see, if we were
yeah,
conditioned from a very young age that our culture cannot tolerate. All we've got to do is look at utopias. Whenever there's been a
yeah.
utopia like the island or Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, there were no old people, Andre.
No,
Whenever you see a utopia, there are no old people. Whenever you read between the lines in heaven, where's the old people? They're not fucking there because everybody in heaven is in their prime and all this bullshit. Old people, no, the future has nothing for them. And
no.
so the sooner the human being can get into a conditioned state of mind of letting go, then the better. And
Yeah,
when you are old, you've been conditioned that way yourself, and you go, well, look, I can no longer walk to the shop. I can no longer do anything. I need people to do this for me. What's the fucking point in my existence? So therefore,
yeah,
I'll go bring the pill. Be a fucking man, bring a woman, and stop being terrified of fucking death and
yeah,
fucking leaving this earth. It's a conditioned mind that needs to come about,
yeah,
and then there'll be none of this bullshit. But what we've been conditioned into is hanging on, clinging on. Oh, we don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it's so tragic. Oh my god,
yeah,
it's a fucking
yeah.
scourge of the
Hmm.
human being.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I have been contemplating death a lot and so on, and I have contemplated my mother's death and my father's death and so on. Because I think it's useful because one should contemplate that stuff before it happens, so to speak.
Yeah, because why would we want to be fucking taken by surprise? Why would we want to
Yeah,
live in denial? And then when
exactly.
your old dad or mum goes into hospital, oh, I hope they survive. Oh, I hope she's gonna be all right. Why? Ask yourself why. Are they in pain every fucking day? Have they got dementia? Are they shitting themselves, falling down the fucking stairs? Why would you wish more pain upon them? That's what I don't get. Look, I'm
Yeah,
61 years old, Andre, and I've already got a few aches and fucking pains in the body. And I'm just wondering what the fuck I'm going to be like if I ever get to 80. Ask ourselves, why would we want to continue this bullshit?
yeah. Hmm.
Look, there's an old guy lives down below me. He's only about 75, 76. And
Yeah,
he doesn't go to the pub anymore because he's afraid of falling over. He doesn't go walking anymore because he's afraid of falling over. The only thing he'll do is walk 50 yards down the road. He'll go and sit at the train station and watch trains go by. And he came back the other day and he said, "Oh, I've been down the train station. Oh, I saw 4 trains go by." And I'm like, it's not even like in the old fucking days when they had numbers on them. They don't even have fucking numbers on them anymore. And so, what are you spotting? Is that his fucking life? And when he doesn't do that, when he doesn't go to sit on the bench at the train station watching trains go by for the highlight of his day, he gets on the fucking bus outside his house with his pensioner's bus pass, and he goes on an hour's journey around the villages and gets off again. He doesn't even get off the fucking bus. He just looks out the window.
that's fucking stupid. You
Of
know,
course, it's stupid, and that's what
it's
most of these old
utterly
fuckers are
stupid.
doing.
She should be taking LSD or something instead.
Well,
Do
yeah,
something.
or the fucking euthanasia pill,
Yeah, either
but
that or something that were more interesting.
you see, if we look across the board, Andre, then the vast majority of people are, dumb as fuck these days, and all the old pensioners that live in these buildings, because it's an over 50s building, and I'm the youngest here. I'm the only one that could even do one fucking press up, let alone 50. But they don't speak about anything outside of their immediate fucking things that they're doing. Oh, I'm going to the shop. Do you want anything from the shop? When they come to cut the grass. Do you want one of these chrysanthemums? That's it. They sit around, having a glass of fucking wine, just talking that shit. There's not a
Yeah.
single one of them would ever ask a question. There's not a single one of them would ever make any remarks about the fucking world. Nothing. They've got no awareness to all that shit. And I'm like, there's billions of these homes all over the fucking world. And all I'm saying is it's about time it comes to a fucking end.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, so vote for Aaron Berry. Vote for Aaron Berry to clean up this shithole.
Yeah, I actually don't vote in the first place. I don't think voting serves any real purpose more than making people believe that they have some saying in whatever shit that they don't understand anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I used to live down in the Algarve, uh, and I was traveling around that country, I would see old men mostly. Um, the old women and the old men would be playing bowls. And I'm speaking like 70, 85, maybe 90 years old. I'm talking old people, man. They're playing bowls out in the sunshine. They're sitting on the park benches. They've all got a walking stick. They're all leaning on the walking stick. And I would see groups of like 7 or 8 of them all over the place because they were still able bodied. They could still get out and walk. They still had the mind to talk with each other, and
Mm.
convene with each other. And, you'd see them laughing and joking. He's like, that's how it should be. So something's gone fucking wrong. And some
Yeah.
people could say, yeah, well, it's the COVID and it's the dumbing down. Well, yeah, well, whatever. If it is that, then there's no point in them being here. But if I saw groups of old people all over the place enjoying themselves and having the crack and talking about the war and this, that, and the other, I'd be fucking gathering around there as well. But since I've never heard a single old person in the last 30 fucking years ever say anything worth listening to, I'm looking for an alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hard to find an alternative to that.
You see, when we've got countries like Portugal and it's in the sun the vast majority of the time, they're eating fresh home produce, vegetables and fruits, and got wine in their diet every single day. There's a different mentality. And
Yeah.
because it's a low population, they're not all under pressure to go out and do this and do that and do some fucking thing else. Then they're all sitting in the parks and walking down the roads and things like that, and it's pleasurable and it is enjoyable, and it's a very welcome thing to see that you can grow old in this nation, and you can still walk about, and you can still wipe your own fucking arse. But in the vast majority of these modern Western worlds, that's all been taken away from people. And I don't know whether it's down to medication, whether it's down to illness, or whether it's down to, the bitterness of these people. But something is very, very gone wrong.
Yeah, it's certainly a combination, but it has become worse. Absolutely become worse. People are so afraid of everything nowadays. It's like they don't have any own will. They can't say anything. They are even afraid of saying vulgar stuff. They are afraid of saying vulgar jokes. Uh,
Yeah, so how could they ever go and convene and talk about someone because it's not politically correct, and particularly if this person was of a different culture or a different nationality, how could anybody feel, you see, look, if you've got black friends or Indian friends or whatever, and they piss you off and you go, fucking so and so fucking pissed me off, the bitch, or the idiot and this, that, and the other, then how many people will be, oh, is that racist? And because that's how we've been conditioned and poisoned. And there's so many comedians these days that are kicking back, Andre, and
yeah,
they're saying about this bullshit that when they speak about this, that, and the other, it's not fucking racist. It's just an observation. We can make cultural observations. We can make observations about people's features if they're black or Indian or Chinese. We can recognize the differences, but these days we can't. And so
yeah.
that's where it's all fucked. And I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know what the end game is. Like, we're all going to live happily ever after, not saying any fucking thing, not recognizing that one's a Japanese and one's an Indian and one's an Afro, American or whatever. You know, We're not supposed to see these things. We're not supposed to talk about them. And God forbid we'd speak about their culture when they were lads, what they did in Japan or wherever. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all gone, isn't it? It's all over. It's over. It really is over.
yeah. I think a lot of it is the lack of connection. People aren't connecting with each other anymore. They are even afraid of connecting with each other. They don't know how to connect with each other because they are so afraid to do things that are deemed wrong in somebody's eyes because they are always programmed by media, and they just sit and look at it like it is like a thing of enjoyment. And when they do that, they slip in programming into their mind, and they get all those fears of like, if I do this, I will be called out by Me Too or something like that, you know? Uh, Instead, just do whatever you want in that case, you know? I mean, I even heard a certain person say he was afraid of opening up the door for a girl because then maybe it would be deemed as harassment. I wouldn't even
Yeah,
think about that kind of stuff. If
yeah.
I open the
Everybody.
door, I open the door for a man or a woman. I don't fucking care. Yeah, if I want to talk to a woman, I talk to a woman. You know, if I
Yeah,
want to ask for her phone number, I say, hey, girl, give me your number. You know?
I was listening to an American comedian a couple of days ago, and his name's Bill Burr, and he's still around today. And in one of these stand-ups, he was saying about kids. He said, "I love kids." He says, "I haven't got any of my own. I'm too fucking scared." But I remember when I was growing up. He said, if he was on a bus or on a plane or something, and a little kid walked by, you'd scruff his hair like this. How are you doing? Rusty, or you choo on the face or something like that. But now everyone's terrified of everyone else's kids. They won't want to look at them. They won't want to, the mummy, that man's looking at me. Oh, he's probably a paedophile and all this sort of stuff. It's gone wild, and so this comedian was going. Now everyone, if a kid goes near him, he's like, "Get a fucking thing away from me," otherwise I'm going to be up on some sort of fucking assault charge or this, that, and the other, with trumped up fucking charges or whatever. Everybody's terrified of everybody, the ramifications. And one day I was filming down in Portugal. And I'm, on the beach. I'm filming everything, and there was two little kids, about 10 years old. They were, and they're making all different sorts of sandcastles. They've made like a little town with all these sandcastles with roads and everything like that. And as I was walking down, I was filming, talking about something, and I said, "Oh, look over here! This is exactly how myself and my brother used to play when we used to go to the beach. And in the back garden, we had a sand pit, where people don't fucking have sand pits in the back garden anymore." And we used to build all these tunnels and everything like that. Next thing, some fucking French guy comes up to me with a big fucking rock in his hand, threatening to throw it at my fucking head, shouting paedophile. Yeah. And so I put the fucking camera away and I got into a fucking karate stance and I started heading my way fucking towards him. But he threw the fucking rock down and turned around and fucked off. But I'm telling you, I was fucking furious about that. So you can't even do that. You can't even train. You film on kids at a sports day these days. If you take a film to film your own kid at sports day, you're going to have other parents going, "Oh no, I don't want them to filming my child. They might be masturbating over my child." It's all fucking wrong. It's all gone. The human being's over. The human being's over, Andre. And like, I
Yeah,
don't like what I see. And I've got no sympathy for them because they've brought it all on themselves. And
yeah.
you know, fucking sooner it's over, the better.
The,
I think.
I think there's some out there that they will like grasp it. Like, yeah, there are certain people with life force in their eyes, you know, that they will grasp certain things and so on, you know.
Yeah, but I just wonder how many. What's the ratio? What's the ratio of intelligent people? Um,
Very few.
You see, when you look around on YouTube, you've got these podcasters, right? And of course, they're doing podcasts because they can hold a conversation, and they appeal to other people who can hold conversations. So what do? Well, you appeal to somebody that's got something to say. So it's usually a PhD because nobody wants to talk to anybody unless they're a doctor or a fucking PhD these days, because they think that nobody could possibly have anything to say unless you've got letters after your fucking name. And that's one sector of society where people hungry for conversation have to go because there's nowhere else to go. And then you've got the drone in the fucking street, and you've got these interviewers saying, like, how many moons does the fucking Earth have? And then some cunt goes 48. Or go, no, 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 is it 40? And then they go, oh, I don't know. And then some woman goes, two, just a guess. And then just a simple question like the guy says, um, what countries were involved in the war between Mexico and America? And then they go, Russia, Germany, really? This is the state. And one woman, she was asked this question, and she said, "Oh, a country, a country, a country. What's a country? What's a country?" And then she's asking her friends, "What's a country?"
Hmm.
It seems really, really bizarre and absurd, but this
Yeah.
is the state of the lower echelons of America, and
Yeah.
it's rapidly becoming the norm all over the world.
Yeah. Certainly weird kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you look at that, I mean, I don't know how anybody could be proud about being a human being or proud about being American when their education system, the last time I looked, about 5 years ago, it was number 27 or 29 in the world. For the richest country on the planet to be almost 30 countries behind. Well, it's
Yeah.
probably about 40 by now. And so, why would any American be proud about that? I would think every single American would need to be very, very disturbed about that, very shocked, very embarrassed, and desirous to do something about it. But no, you see, when you've got half of America that would still be voting for a fucking geriatric dead on his fucking feet. What can you say about a nation like that, Andre? It's fucking insane. It really is insane. I can't get my fucking head around it as an intelligent thinking fucking being why anybody on the planet would be voting for an 86-year-old fucking geriatric that can't even find his way on or off the fucking stage. What's going on? What
Yeah.
level of fucking hypnosis mind poison is gone on? Who would be voting for this person? Who would even think that he's going to be living another 4 fucking years to be 90 years old? What fucking 90-year-old person would anybody attribute with the ability to run the fucking nation, let alone the most powerful nation in the world? It's all fucking insane.
Yeah.
I could fucking rant here now, I am.
Yeah,
But look,
there is a couple of things in that. Well, many people were voting for him, but at the same time, the system was absolutely rigged. Also, because they faked with the ballots and so on. But either way, if it's Trump, it's
Andre,
just Trump.
if a country is awoke,
Yeah,
then somehow this old geriatric is fucking looking like he's getting 60% of the fucking votes. Everybody be going, "Did you vote for him? Did you vote? Did you?" No fucker in this room voted for him. Let's go out into the street and actually ask if anybody voted. And then if it's
yeah,
kind of like the interview, 100 people, and 98 say they never voted, then they want to get the fucking billboards and stand outside Parliament and go, "Oi, cunts, we know what your fucking game is. This is bullshit." But no, they're all
yeah,
fast asleep. They don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. They're going to deserve what they're going to get. They're going to deserve what they're going to fucking get.
yeah,
Honestly, I can't find an ounce of sympathy. Why would I? Why would anybody find an ounce of sympathy? It's like, Nazi Germany or Stalinistic Russia. The people got what they fucking deserved. If they didn't deserve it, they wouldn't have got it. They wouldn't have allowed it to happen. And who is
Yeah.
doing all this stuff? It's their own people. Who is being indoctrinated into the forces and into the police and everything like that and doing this stuff to their own people? It's your own uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters.
Yeah, but it's also all kind of influences come from people higher up in the equilum as well. So it's a reflection of the both, so to speak. I mean,
A reflection of the vote.
a reflection of higher and the lower, so to speak. It's a reflection.
Well,
It,
I just we know what's going on. It's propaganda. It's all
yeah,
bullshit, and that they are pretending that people are voting for these people. And if the people were awake, then they go, well, no, I wasn't. Did you? No. And so in this day and age, people have got massive platforms. They will be putting the word out, to people. But I listen to Alex Jones, I listen to David Icke, I listen to Russell Brand, I listen to Tucker Carlson, and I listen to lots of other people, and none of them are actually being serious, asking the question. Is America going to stand for the inauguration once again of this geriatric who we know isn't running the country? Is America standing for it? That's what I'd be saying. I'll be saying
yeah,
that if I had 7 million views. And I'll be saying, tell your friends, we've got to put an end to this. We, the people, we, the fucking people. Let's topple these motherfuckers. But no, they're all too scared about being deplatformed and losing their advertisement and the cushy fucking homes. That's all they're doing it for. Look at all of them. That's all they're doing it for. Lining their own
yeah,
pockets. They're all too scared to actually confront real issues.
yeah.
But not
I
only
was
that,
thinking about a certain quote in this book based on the masses, so to speak. Um, the most decisive argument against democracy can be summed up in a few words. The higher cannot proceed from the lower, because the greater cannot proceed from the lesser. This is an absolute mathematical certainty that nothing can gainsay. It's
say that
a
say that one more time, please.
The most decisive argument against democracy can be summed up in a few words. The higher cannot proceed from the lower, because the greater cannot proceed from the lesser. This is an absolute mathematical certainty that nothing can gainsay, that nothing can stand against, so to speak. That the democracy in and of itself can not be as of use, because the masses can't be right in the matter of what's higher, so to speak.
Yeah,
The crowd is always the lowest
yeah,
denominator, because
yeah,
the crowd is always based on the most stupid kind of person in the crowd that is
yeah.
leading them forward when they get into the mass psychosis, so to speak.
Yeah, it's become so shocking. I remember probably even about 20 years ago in Britain, there was a tie with the political parties. And during the campaign, the year long campaign of one party slagging off the other and slandering them for, having fucking out extramarital affairs and squandering the money and embezzlement and all this stuff that politicians do, right? There was a tie. And so they had to form a coalition. And the day they formed the coalition, it was all different, and they were the best of friends. And it was kind of like, well, we always, considered that it was very likely that we was going to have to form one party, and it's a very good thing actually because now we've got both the strengths in one party, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I'm going to just. just political machinations, just lying through
Yeah.
their teeth all the time, knowing that all they're going to do, all those politicians are going to be lining their own pockets. They're going to be millionaires out of it, all buying up land and palaces and the rest of it. And the dumb cunt in the street is just going to have more fucking tax impositions and less fucking benefits and all the rest of it. And the dumb fucks can't see it. They can't see a fucking thing. And uh, this is the curse of being awoken or being moderately intelligent. You just look around and you go, well, look, the human race is a fucking basket case. Why is it a basket case? Is it due to modern machinations, or was it always a basket case? When you read the Bible and you read, philosophy from the bygone days, you'll discover that it was always a basket case. The masses were always, the unwashed. They were
Yeah.
always the fucking the rabble. I mean, I was even in this Julius Evola. Certain people are talking about the rabble, people in positions of power or intellectuals. They just talk about them as the rabble, our own human beings. They're just an abomination. They've only come to this fucking planet to pack and bottle our fucking beer. That's the long and the fucking short of it. Without those fuckers, we'd be in trouble. So we need all those, and the world has always known we need them, and so they've just herded them. They've herded them with the greatest level of discontent that they could ever muster. And the only difference is now it's getting a bit more obvious that the level of discontent, because they're not even fucking listening to their bullshit. Because look, how many people could actually vote about any policy these days, Andre? No fucker knows anything about politics unless you are in politics. Because politics is so convoluted, it's such a fucking can of worms. There's so much lying and conniving and wickedness going on. How the fuck would anybody know which way to vote? And particularly knowing that the both wings pertain to the same fucking bird. So there's no
Yeah.
point in voting in any case.
No, because it's just lies anyway. Because if a person vote for a certain party because of this thing here, then after they have won the election, they will break it anyway, and that's what they do all the time.
Every single
It's
time, and
even
nobody learn.
it's even a rule that they do it. We even
Yeah,
have a word for it in Sweden,
and
valfläsk, and everybody say like, yeah, but that's what politicians do. That's called valfläsk. Like it's okay thing to do just because
yeah,
it's
yeah, of
called a
course
certain
that's what
thing,
they're gonna do. That's politicians for you. Come on, let's go down the pub and let's pay 98% tax on our beer.
Yeah,
98 fucking percent. Look, in England we have places called pubs.
yeah, here too.
They're short for publican. And a publican in the Bible was a tax collector. And that's what pubs are now. They are
Mm.
tax collecting joints because we pay at least 98% tax. So when we're buying a pint of beer, it costs about 2 pence to fucking manufacture, or a penny to manufacture, and they get a penny profit, but 98% goes to the fucking government. So, yeah, these public houses are tax collecting houses, and the vast majority of people don't even know that. They wouldn't even be aware of it. But they know that the beer is vastly overpriced, but yet they still go and pay their hard earned money just so they can meet Tony and Jim down the boozer, you know, rather than drinking a few cans at a barbecue around your fucking house. Because most of these people, they don't want to fucking invite them around their house. But they want to get away from her indoors, so they go down the boozer and they pay vastly over the top for this shit. So
Yeah,
when you look at this thing, look how the world is rigged. from the Queen in England down to, let's say, army generals, police chiefs, district magistrates, and university deans, and all these sort of things. All these people in positions of power, they know exactly what they're fucking doing. They're all working for the man. They're all getting paid by the man, and they're all getting rich, and the poor get poor. And it's a tiered society which has always been around in Britain. Since the advent of William the Conqueror, when he started lording it over us and getting some order. But it's been a hierarchical system, and the masses have been tethered by this yoke for so long. They're born into this prison planet. They don't know anything fucking else. And the world really does need a massive upheaval whereby people are going to be so shocked they're going to start again, and they're going to have to start questioning how they want their countries to be run, and who they want them to run, and what they want to do. And you see, look, if there was a nuclear war, and the infrastructures in many cities were taken out, and all different sorts of catastrophe came about, then the politicians that we would vote in would need to make sure that they got on the fucking case to repair all this shit, right? So it'd be like Nazi Germany. It'd be like Hitler building their nation up again, and everybody would be working with something in mind. They'd all be pulling together. They'd all be unified. They'd all be nostalgic. They'd all be nationalistic. Working for their country. It wouldn't matter what color or creed you were. It's your country, and you're working to build a new country. Don't you think that we need that? Because if we don't have that, then we've not got this unity. All that's going to happen is we're going to get more and more fragmented, more and more dumbed down, and we're going to get more and more threatened, more and more oppressed, and to a point whereby we won't be able to do any fucking thing because we're so terrified. And so something absolutely happens, and the stupid fucking idiot pink ape doesn't even see that sometimes, we need a catastrophe or fucking two, and we need one big, and we need it now. Because if we don't get it now, then it's the end of the human being in any case.
Yeah, I think it is the end of the human being. There's no end in sight because the snowball has been rolling for so long time. So the force is so hard that it will crush down. And if there's anything left in the end, then there's like just like clustered in few people who might survive until the next golden age, if so, maybe.
Yeah. Good God.
But
And
I don't think it will end well for 99.999% of people.
no, but then when you look at the history, Andre, when has it ever fucking ended well for the human being? If you go back in history, you look all over the world. Every single nation on the planet has, had its dictators, and the slaughter and the oppression, and the starvation. Every fucking one of them. Throughout every continent. And so it's just a case of probability when it's going to happen to these countries which were responsible for bringing it about to other countries. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like Britain and France and Spain that ruled Europe, for hundreds of years, and we colonized the whole fucking world. And now we're being colonized by them. They're all coming into our country, raping our women, making themselves fucking prime ministers, and giving us hell fucking fire. How many nations now? I mean, do you have an Indian or black fucking president at this moment in time?
I think there's a couple of them. I don't know who
Prime
the
minister is.
politicians are. I don't care
Yeah,
about it. I
yeah,
know
yeah.
it's like a dwarf that is our prime minister or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
or just transvestite, or something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Look, it's payback time. That's what it is. The world needs to turn inside out because it's been a certain way for a long time. Now there needs a regime change, and there's going to be a regime change, and people are going to get their own back, and people are going to get their just desserts, and that's how it's going to be. But for myself, I grew up in a beautiful time. I grew up probably in the best time between 1963 and now, where you could just, the roads, mostly empty, and you could just get on a plane, go and buy your ticket at the airport half an hour before, walk on the runway, get on the plane, throw your bag up on the fucking top, all this sort of stuff. It was so easy in those days, and you could do so many things that you can't do these days. And so I lived through there. I ran businesses through there, and I traveled the world through that period. And increasingly more and more in the last 20 years, I saw it turn into a fucking hellhole since 9/11, of course. And so yeah, it's all over, but I lived it, and I'm very happy for being born in that time. Just sorry for people that are born in this time.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you see, the human being, they're a very adaptable creature, and they get molded very, very quickly. And so you would never hear any kids, let's say 10 years old, you'd never hear them saying, "Oh, I wish I could do what my dad did or my granddad did. He used to build tunnels in the riverbank, and build bivouacs and build kayaks and go hunting pheasants and rabbits." And no, they wouldn't want to do any of that shit. They just want to play
No.
on their Xbox. So
Yeah.
we've got a new variety of human being for a new variety of time, epoch. And
Yeah.
I really do think that the consciousness has got abreast of this.
Yeah.
Consciousness produces the right drones or people for the times,
Yeah, it's the like the lowest of the lowest, you know. Just feed them some video games, some drugs, some pornography, and some yeah, smartphones, and they they can do their stuff, you know, and
Yeah, so when you look
eat like the pigs and so on, you know,
Yeah, you
like
look at it, you go, well, look, all you need to do is give them fast food, give them chocolate, give them sugar, give them alcohol, cigarettes, and some drugs, give them porn, and that's all you need to do. Give them
yeah,
entertainment. So basically, it's no different to what it was in Rome 2,000 years ago. It's bread and circus. Give the idiots what they fucking love the most, and then you can just, bring all these measures, rules, and laws into play without them even noticing. And so, no difference now as there was 2,000 years ago. Um, anyway, we've fucking had a good rant for, well, I've had a good rant anyway for 2 hours.
yeah.
So, what do you want to finish off on, Andre? What's your future? I mean, you're younger than me. What are you now? About 40?
I'm 38.
38,
Yeah,
man. You're fucking 22 years younger than me.
yeah.
And so, what do you think the future holds for you, dude? Are you going to stay living in that oppressive shithole of a country, or are you going to go and see the fucking world and get some liberty?
Hmm. You know, I'm kind of split up at the times. You know, there's many choices, and sometimes I am in a way emotional kind of guy. You know, but I still contain a certain presence and so on. You know, I certainly try to focus inward and focus on my breathing and focus on my internal world as well as building up my physiology, you know. But if it's needed, I go out with the bang, you know. If the bullet will want to hit my head, then let it, you know.
So, from that, I deduce then that you're just going to stay exactly as you are, working on yourself and detaching yourself from all the bullshit that's going on in the world.
Yeah, but also taking people with me that I can see within this world, that I can see see people with life force in them like me, you know. that are like differentiated in a way. The people that uh, might be corrupted if they don't get a person like me in their life, because
Mm.
that can happen. But if they get me in their life, they might at least learn to know that they are uh, uh, capable of more. It's like much like Nietzsche says. I might not have the key to my own lock, but uh, uh, just because I don't have the key to my own lock doesn't mean that I don't have the key to your lock, so to speak.
Mm.
That seems to
Yeah.
be a theme in my life, so to speak. I
Right.
try to lock my up my own lock, but I manage to help other people at times. People that are close to me, they help me as well. In different ways. But I have a lot to go through in myself. I recognize that I have worked on certain aspects in myself for a long time. Certain things just stay there as like a cold feeling in the heart, kind of traumatized in a way, maybe. Um, but it is a weight that is needed to be like it is a weight that when one holds it, there's a lot to gain from it, because that's like weight training in a way, did you get where I'm coming from a bit?
I'm just going to ask. So, are you saying that you're a bit cold-hearted?
Not cold-hearted, but cold feelings. Like I'm a feeling person in a way, a little
Right.
too much at the times, even if it's not like
So,
very out there all the time.
you feel the cold world then?
Yeah, one could say that. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a warm heart, then you time to you want to keep it protected because you feel the chill of the world everywhere you go.
I manage it around people very easily. I'm not like anxious around people or anything like that. I'm pretty social, but there's itching sore, so to speak, in my soul.
Yeah.
Uh, that is really, yeah, a bit unbearable at times in periods, I would say.
Right. So you said something earlier which is very akin to how I feel. You said that you are very sociable and you'll engage with anybody on a one-to-one and you'll enjoy the company and this, that, and the other. But when you think about them en masse, then you have a very different perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's exactly how I am. The world. They see people that don't know me, listen to me. They'll be thinking, "Oh, this guy sounds like Adolf Hitler." There's lots of people on the planet could see good things about Hitler if they dared to say, if they weren't so indoctrinated by the you know who's. But they've been
yeah,
so indoctrinated, they're terrified, and everyone's got to say, "Oh, Hitler was a monster." Oh, and I was only listening to Jordan Peterson, banging on about the same old bullshit. Hitler was a monster. No, Hitler. No, he wasn't the monster. What Hitler wanted was to get the parasites out of his fucking country. The
yeah,
parasites that he blamed for the downfall and the loss of the First World War because they were bleeding all the resources from the fucking inside. And so he knew that. And so, he did lots of good things. And if every country had a Hitler, which didn't invade another border, then the whole world, would be in a super healthy condition. So there's many, many good things that he was doing. Um, and also, it's a case of where do we draw the line when the world is getting dumber and it's getting more infirm and it's getting iller, and we're not working hard anymore to exercise our bodies. That's why everybody's housebound and they've all got arthritis and gout and this, that, and the other, and on medication. Where do we draw the line with that? I mean, don't we need a little bit of Hitler? Don't we need just a little bit of Hitler? I think we do. I think we need a little bit of Hitler somewhere, because this cannot go on. Because if this goes on for another 100 years, it's over for the human being. It really is, because we've become so inundated and we've got such a mass cesspool which is dependent on our resources and our energies. Can you imagine old people around all over the fucking place, and instead of building theme parks and entertainment places and things for young people, you're building massive old age complexes, and you're getting all different sorts. You've got to keep importing immigrants to look after
Yeah.
these old fucks, because no fucker else wants to do it. We don't
Yeah.
even want to do it ourselves, for our own parents and this and the other. So you got to
Yeah.
import them all. And, when a nation gets like that, when you look at the cheap labor and you import people from a third world nation to look after your dying parent, I think it's a time to admit something to yourselves. That's what I say. Fucking admit
Yeah.
something to yourselves.
But at the same time, it's by design, so to speak, because if you read the Elders' Protocol of Zion, even there, I read that scripture like when I was 18 or 19 or something
Mm.
like that. There it's said that they should let uh, people invade other people's countries,
Yeah.
so they will divide and conquer that way, so it's
Yeah.
even said there in the Elders Protocol
Yeah,
of
I
Zion.
know, but I think what we mustn't do, we mustn't keep absolving everybody because somebody had it planned. Yeah, it's fucking been planned, but people with intelligence, of course, we can. Anybody that's intelligent can see it's happening. Um,
Yeah.
but the greatest issue that we've got is there's only a few of us. There's just a handful of us, and there's just a mass of sleeping dumb fucks. And this is
Yeah.
why Rogan, look at Rogan, look at the people he has on. They're of a different world. Where could you find people like that out in the street? You couldn't find them. They're one in a million. These people that fly in from all over the fucking world and the country, to go to sit in front of Joe Rogan for his 10 billion fucking viewers. They're of a different breed. They come from a different constellation. Really. The people in the street, and you see, this is why all these people have become millionaires on the back of the idiot. Because all they've got to do is just fucking make a podcast, and then they go, oh, you, because they can't fucking read a fucking book, and so they just
Yeah.
need entertaining all the time.
Yeah.
I look at Jordan Peterson and speaking with intellectuals and having thousands of hits, views. I want to know who's listening to these debates, because I guarantee that there's 99.999% of them that haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about. So why are they watching them?
Be-
Andre, I've been in this stuff. I've been involved in this stuff for the past 14 years, 10 or 12 hours every fucking day. And there's lots of things that, Peterson and his mates talk about that I've never fucking heard of, because they are super intellectual. They've been involved in this university thing, and they've been reading books since they're fucking 10 years old. That's what these people did.
yeah.
I probably never picked up a fucking book until I was 40 years old. And so I want to know who the fuck is watching these videos when it's such esoteric. It could literally be Julius Evola speaking, because it's just so fucking out there. But these people have got millions of subscribers. How does that happen? What's going on?
Yeah, while when it comes to Jordan Peterson, he has a big audience because he talks to a lot of young men as well, and he explained many things in a more easy way to understand as well. As well as he had have the more the
In the
high,
early
yeah.
days, let's say in his first year, he was basically saying, "Stand up, clean your room, and fucking, be responsible." But now he ain't speaking about any of that stuff. He's gone off on his own verbal masturbation. He's talking about the highfalutin, all this, and this, and this, and he's talking with super intellectuals, and that's all it is. And yet people keep watching. They keep clicking on his videos. His book has sold fucking millions. I tell you, I've got the book here. I've got Maps of Meaning here, and I couldn't get through about 50 pages because it bored the fucking shit out of me. And so,
Hmm.
who the fuck has read these books? Nobody's read the fucking book. And even intellectuals on podcasts said, like, yeah, I started reading Peterson's book. It's a bit like watching paint dry. And this guy was an intellectual. And so I think that, there's a conspiracy going on. There's a massive conspiracy. All the numbers are fucking fake. And the hidden hand are manipulating people when they come on the scene and they're saying something that can be used. They then are manipulated, and they will make it happen that someone's going to offer Peterson $100,000 to come to speak for 2 hours at this venue, and he'll fucking be there. And that's what he's been doing for this next fucking last 5 years since he's been up there. He's been getting paid 100 grand a fucking venue to speak shit what the powers that be want him to talk about. And basically, it's meaningless fucking tosh that it doesn't have any relevance to the man in the street. Not a fucking one iota does it have any relevance at all. Listen to one of his conversations. Just randomly, just listen to him, and you ask yourself the question: who the fuck gets what he is saying? Because it most certainly isn't the American public.
Hmm. Is it lately you're talking about? He's a lot into like Orthodox Christianity and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
he's so deep into that shit. And look, there's one
Yeah.
intellectual that was interviewing him and said, "Look, Jordan, can I just stop you there? Because what you've just said, I don't think anybody on the whole planet would see it like you did." And I'm like, fucking a round of applause. Somebody has fucking finally said it. Because people, you see, stupid fuckers,
Yeah.
they're in awe of anybody that can string a sentence together, and they're terrified of saying anything like calling Peterson out. I've said in many videos, I'll call him out on so many fucking things, and I want to ask him so many things that he just skirts around. I want to ask him some real fucking stuff. And I want to ask
Yeah.
him what the fuck he thinks he's doing, pushing this 2,000 years old dead desert dogma. Where the fuck does he think he's going with that bullshit?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. People don't get what he's saying. They most certainly don't get what he's saying. No fucker gets what anyone's saying. And like Eric Weinstein said, if he gets a million fucking views and he gets like 100,000 comments, there wouldn't be a single fucking one there which was had any relevance to what he said. Nothing for him. If he was conveying this and conveying that, there'd be nothing there for him. There'd just be a load of crap. Like when people watch my fucking videos, if I speak for an hour, they'll say, "Oh, where do you get that past tapestry behind you?" And that'll be it.
Yeah. Because when people look at the videos, they look at the video. Maybe it's like this. They look at the video and see what they can use and regurgitate that to look smart. So they are actually not thinking at all, but they are being fed certain rhetoric they will copy. Uh, but I think, in a way, if you do that, will you not start to think about those certain things after a while?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think it's too deep. It's too beyond the people. And the point is, you see, Peterson, he's got such an adversity to what is going on in the universities around the world, and he's got such an objection with postmodernism, and he's got such an objection with how the universities have been hijacked and what shower of shit they are churning out. Well, he obviously can't be attracting those fucking people because they would hate him because Peterson was very, very pro-Israel in this conflict. When all the university students they're under the postmodernism and they're all against Israel, so they can't be buying Peterson's book. They can't be watching these fucking videos because they wouldn't have two good words to
Yeah,
say about him.
because the Daily Wire is also having like a finger in the pie. Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro and so on.
Yeah,
Cadence Owens. She got in trouble just because she said this and that. She was a bit not on Ben Shapiro's side and so on. She
yeah.
said Christ is king, and this sneaky little Jew, Ben
It's little
Shapiro.
Jew.
uh, Ben Shapiro got a bit angry about that and so on.
Yeah.
And I kind of think Cadence Owens have a kind of honest appeal to her. Um,
Yeah, she's very forceful in her beliefs, but she
yeah,
likes a good scrap, and I've always enjoyed her videos. But I believe she's a Catholic, isn't she?
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, and
but it's so
so
pretentious in a way. This kind of Christ thing.
yeah, so she's barking up the wrong fucking tree with that bullshit. But yeah, Christendom is so indoctrinated into the American people, they can never escape it. You see, this is why the Catholic Jesuits they always said that give me a boy from 1 till 7, and I'll give you the man. And so the whole of America has been under the yoke of the Jesuits, ever since the founding fathers signed the fucking Declaration of Independence. And so it was drip fed to them in their apple pie and in their fucking sodas and in their hot dogs. Every fucking day they got that drip fed to them. And so, you can't escape this level of mass propaganda. And that's why now the old Christendom thing is getting a revamping because it's in their blood, it's in their psyche, it's so deeply rooted into it. And so now people are trying to call it back to the forefront, and just like zombies, they all go, "Oh Christ, Jesus, gonna save us." Because they haven't got a fucking clue. They've got no solutions. You see, if anybody had a solution, how you're going to save a country or a world, then you'd be putting something into a plan. But because they've got no solutions whatsoever, then it's Jesus, and that's it.
Yeah, either that or it is Islam or
Yeah,
Christianity.
it's
It's
either Allah
those
or
two.
fucking Jesus, and that's
Yeah,
it. And that I don't know what the illuminated ones have got in mind when they, in the protocols of Zion, they wrote there's only going to be one religion. I just wonder what that religion is. I hope to God that they burn every single Bible and Quran that ever existed on this planet.
yeah.
Uh,
I
uh,
think it's IE. It's not the human religion
yeah, yeah,
anymore
new
because
religion, AI. You mean AI?
yeah, AI. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And there will be a like mechanical god or something. We will be forced fed eating bugs. Let's not say we because we and them is kind of different. I
Hmm.
think in a way it's good to uh, be aware of how one is using we,
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah.
I'm not the we. like the ones who will eat the bugs, you know.
Yeah, and how many we's are there? I don't think there are any we's these days because if you look for anybody that's holding a conversation and passing an opinion, um, nobody ever agrees with it. It's kind of like, oh yeah, but don't you think this, or I think that, or so and so thought this and that. You know, how many people would actually, if somebody made 10 points, how many people would say I agree with eight, and I've got to have to think about the last two? They wouldn't agree with any of them. The chances are, because first and foremost, that doesn't make a good video. Nobody wants to listen to any fucker agreeing with everybody all the time. They want the conflict. They want the yin and yang, and they want the variance of opinions, and that's all that's happened since the advent of the story of the Tower of Babel. Everybody just speaks another language. Everybody's got their own fucking idea about how the world is. And in actual fact, everybody does live in a separate world, all to themselves. Everybody's
Yeah,
got a world to themselves. No fucker shares anybody else's world. Fact, period. That is it. Doesn't matter how you look at it, unless you're a fantasist, we ain't in the same world. And so, yeah, I mean, they knew that 2,000 years ago. That was a really, really profound story, the Tower of Babel. Where God said to the people building the Tower of Babel, due to your audacity, trying to get to the dizziest heights of where I reside, I'm going to now make it so that every single one of you cannot communicate with a single person because you're all going to be speaking a different language. And
yeah,
so that's it. That's what God is reputed to have done, but that's what society has done. They've made it so everybody's speaking a different language. So there's no
yeah.
unity, see? There's no groups getting together. There'll never be any fascists again. There'll never be any particular group, fringe groups like that, because nobody will ever join forces with anybody else.
The longer the time goes, the more subversion it becomes, and more subversive it becomes, more split it becomes, so to speak.
Yeah.
If there was a certain event happened like a couple of thousand years ago, then that certain event stands as like an example for the coming event that will be far worse, because it just gets worse, worse, and worse. So the next coming of a similar event is a worse event, so to speak.
Mm. Yeah, they just get worse and worse though, because they've got to be worse, otherwise nobody will respect how terrible they are. If there's another 9/11, it's kind of like, oh, another 9/11. No, there's got to be another 10 9/11s. To
Yeah,
to give impact, because people very very quickly they become numb to it all.
yeah,
And so I don't know. This world is very 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 bizarre. And one of the things, just briefly now, just before we wrap this one up, I always used to look at Elon Musk and say to myself, how the fuck can he run these mega businesses? With all of these incredible innovations, look, just to do one thing, like to design these tunnels, this boring company has got right, designing tunnels under cities where he thinks traffic is going to be going to take the traffic off the roads. Well, how many thousands of engineers would you need sitting round board tables and everything to come up with the ideas and the consensus about how to move forward with that? How many engineers would you need to put all these satellites up? How many engineers, physicists and scientists would you need to create a fucking rocket? You'd need armies of these motherfuckers. And yet you've got Elon Musk having stupid dumb fuck interviews here and there with Rogan and any other fucking Tom, Dick and Harry that don't make any fucking sense, and he can't put two words together. And that's all he says. 90% of his fucking conversation. It doesn't
yeah,
sound like an intelligent person to me. And people go, "Oh, Elon Musk is genius." I'm like, Elon Musk ain't no fucking genius. The only person that's nailed it is David Icke. David Icke goes a fucking front man. He's no fucking brighter than you or I, this cunt. And it's like Zuckerberg. It's like all these people, they're front men. They haven't designed shit. But, how could one person run all these businesses, design all this super technical stuff. The Tesla, how can one person with one company have the biggest selling car on the planet if it wasn't for aliens or the whole fucking secret cabal behind him? The secret cabal, Andre, want electric cars on the road, and so they have a frontman like Musk, and they put all the technology and all the brilliant brains into it. That's how it works. It isn't because Elon Musk. Because if an interviewer said to Elon Musk, "Tell us how this fucking works. Tell us how that works," just go through some basic engineering in your fucking genius car, he wouldn't be able to tell you about a single thing, except very briefly what he's heard at the board meeting. He ain't doing this thing. These people aren't doing this thing. Here's the thing. Jordan Peterson, he's looked at Musk and he says, I don't know how he's doing all this stuff because I know how busy one needs to do just to run one fucking business. And so Jordan Peterson says, someone says to him, Peterson, if you could ask Elon Musk one question, what would it be? You know what it was? Peterson says, I want to ask him what planet he's really from.
Yeah.
That sums it up. These people, they're not geniuses. They're not the inventors of any fucking thing. It's a very clever, massively operated hidden hand behind the whole fucking world. And Bill Gates is involved in it. And of course, Fauci is involved in it. And all these people, they're all involved. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is in actual fact an alien connection.
Or just whatever demon it might be,
Yeah, like you say, demons. You see, look, there's another very prominent hypothesis, which is that the demons, the archons, or whatever, they give the powers that be certain technology in exchange for babies. And more terror. That's why they always want a war here. They always want a war there because they feed on the loose, yeah? So where are these hundreds of millions of babies going disappeared every fucking year? That many people have been saying that that's where they're fucking going, and that's why all of a sudden from 1947 we've got all these computers and optic fibers and cables and all these back engineered stuff. Since 1945 we're still pretty well in the fucking dark ages.
Yeah.
And so something's happened. Oh, yeah. Anyway, now that's 2 hours and 40 minutes of
Yeah.
So what do? We don't do anything, do we? We just wear ourselves out. We read a little bit more. We listen a bit more. We walk a little bit more. We don't do fucking nothing. What can we do? What can any fucker do?
Yeah. Focus on the breath. Stay present.
Focus on the breath and stay present. Yeah. Spend more time with my squirrel. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. All right, mate. Well, good to talk again.
Yeah, same.
So I was gonna click off this. I'm just gonna ask you a question. Yeah.
Yeah.